the collective unconsciousness is this parasitic dream, as Miguel describes the parasite in the Four Agreements, the ego, mind, all that knowledge inside. It wants more. It's alive and it wants more food, which means more knowledge and more impulses to keep doing what it's doing. And knowledge is addicting. And in a way, our mind is addicted, very much like a drug, like an alcoholic. I want to get to answering Sean's question about this attraction to the magazines and the gossip. First, take a moment to think about for yourself, what is the, when you see that, whether it's a bit of news that you're like, oh, I should read that, or that grabs you, or a magazine cover that's written. I want you to think about what grabs you and then what happens inside of you. What emotions you go here through, what impulses, what thoughts you have. What are the stories that start? What are the feelings and impulses you feel? And if you think about it real slow when you're scrolling your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever it is, what's the feeling of flipping through to the next one, or scrolling further, or clicking on a link? What is the feeling in your body as you're about to do that and as you do it? And I think if you spend some time with this, you'll notice there's not just a series of thoughts. It's more subtle. It's impulses in the body and feeling and nervous system. And then thoughts run through that feeling strain. And that's a bit of awareness to be like, what is the feeling that drives an impulse to click and scroll, and the way you move your thumb, and what is that energy that moves through the body that, now we're doing this scrolling. And can you get down to that subtle impulse and feeling it and sitting with it? And it has this quality of energy, a feeling running through us. Much like the same impulse to grab for food, a cookie, the next potato chip we're snacking on. Something's hungry. Yeah, anticipation is a good word. What's next? Something's next, excitement. Might be a fear of missing out. The newscasters are really good about, oh, you don't want to miss our next story, you better hear about what the weather's going to do before the weekend starts. Okay, a little bit of seed of fear, anxiety. You're not going to want to miss this. Playing, tugging, that is, yeah, it's a story, but it activates a feeling. And so you have these word stories that are coming off the page, the newsprint, the internet, the Instagram, the Facebook, and the feelings intertwined. Stories intertwined with feelings that create impulses that activate reactions. We have our whole set of feelings and stories inside, and there's a whole set of stories and feelings outside. And our inside stories get connected to outside stories. We read about somebody else. We read about this person, that person, or hear it on the news. And like our attention, and our attention goes to the outside story, that magazine cover picture. And now our inside attention, our inside dream is merged with the outside dream. And that knowledge, gossip, stories, opinions, fear, news, moves to those channels of our attention into us. And now that story that was outside is now inside, and it's got a new host where it can reside, and then we want to share it, wants to spread. If we look at this in the way I described a couple of weeks ago about the collective unconscious, this is the way knowledge, we'll use the word knowledge as that conglomeration of stories and feelings merged together. Knowledge is moving through us from outside to inside. Okay, call it gossip. And it's alive. It's the collective unconscious. This is this parasitic dream, as Miguel describes the parasite in the Four Agreements, the ego, mind, all that knowledge inside. It wants more. It's alive and it wants more food, which means more knowledge and more impulses to keep doing what it's doing. Okay, and if it's connected outside, it's got lots of stimulus to activate. And knowledge is addicting. And in a way, our mind is addicted, very much like a drug, like an alcoholic, like a chain smoker wanting more and more and more. Okay. And yes, it kicks off dopamine and excitement and emotions and hope and fear and protection, and it intertwines with our nervous system. Now our body's into anxiety and fear and protection because of a pandemic or a political problem or a war or whatever. Oh yeah, now our nervous system, our whole body is feeling it. And it feels very like reality, but it's all from a story generated about something that probably won't happen. Certainly not in the worst case scenario we're conditioned to dream. But this dream of knowledge is what has us plugged into the collective unconscious merry-go-round of stories that is the matrix. And a lot of why spiritual communities have been formed is because what do? They kind of close off and isolate themselves from the collective way of people dream and talk and communicate. And they do their practices and they clean up their inside stories. They're like, and they have their community, but their community has a dialogue that they try and get clean between them and grow their own collective story that is healthy and nurturing and loving and kind versus fear. Detoxing yourself is hard by yourself because you're surrounded it. If you're in a community, detoxing yourself is a lot easier because you're around other people that are detoxing also. Getting sober, getting clean, getting free of addictions. Okay. That's the value of a community. You're with other people getting sober, getting clean, getting free of addiction. And we're in a network of our little community, and I'm opening up the channels and you're sharing channels with each other of awareness and not gossiping with each other. And you're together taking apart stories. And so there's this thing alive inside this small community that is, allows you to connect with people in a different collective dream of, say, of awareness, as opposed to that dream of that I call knowledge, unconscious opinions and gossip. Awareness versus collective unconscious. As if there's this energy now flowing back and forth between us that's feeding you and I a dream to dream that's different from the knowledge, gossip, fear, impulse field. Well, Miguel would call the dream the planet or collective unconscious, or Maya. So when you see that link on Facebook or the picture in the store or the headline of news, it's trying to grab your attention. That's the dream of knowledge wanting to propagate itself through collective unconscious into your mind and hold your attention and grab your energy and get that energy to flow out of you, of impulse, of addiction, of fear, of missing out, of hope, of anticipation and excitement, all of that. It's the kind of thing that if you go on a spiritual retreat for 10 days, you want to go sit in silence. If a Vipassana retreat for silence, like you cut off from. Because you go sit in ashram in India and you cut off from, or you go to Teo in Mexico and you cut off from, and you're like, okay, we go open up completely different set of channels, and you get to experience what it's like without the fear dream. Is the intent. But what I'm pointing to you when you see that impulses of that headline in the magazine, that dream of the collective unconscious trying to activate in you is happening many levels, from an thought, an idea of words, to emotion, to nervous system impulses, to reactions to those impulses, to the dopamine and adrenaline in your system from fear and hope and excitement. We're talking about the neural pathways firing in habits. All of that is happening down to a biological and nervous system level, as well as just the ideas and the stories, the emotions that happen, okay? So we're retraining your nervous system and how dopamine responds in the changes that I'm inviting you to do, and it is hard to change your brain in the way it gives you dopamine, the way you feel good. And it's work to build a new neural pathway over here that this feels good instead of this feeling good. And it includes down to how you respond to certain phrases and all these little cues that society and our brain is triggered on. And yeah, probably the closest word for it I have, a word for it I have, it's what's happening. And when you see that magazine cover and the stand, it's addiction. The way you feel it in your body will be a little impulses, is addiction. When you're scrolling on your phone through articles or headlines, it's addiction. In the way that the brain chemistry, nervous system is responding. We as humans are addicted to knowledge. Not wisdom. Wisdom's different. Wisdom has clarity and silence and compassion. But the human mind, the way it's been conditioned, we've grown up in society, addicted to knowledge. Not knowledge you need, not knowledge that makes you happy, but just knowledge that keeps the mind spinning.
Is it knowledge here? Is it really, it's the dopamine that the knowledge creates? Like it's the good feeling that it triggers.
As I described, the knowledge is the mind's stories, emotions, and nervous system responses. And,
Oh, so you include all
and
that.
chemical system.
Okay.
That's what the dream of knowledge does. The dream of knowledge is that system of words, stories, meanings, beliefs, emotions, nervous system, brain response,
Okay.
chemistry. That's how the dream of knowledge operates and keeps us involved with our whole body.